Yeah, we play it all in night. Yeah, need it all in advance. The opposition know we're ready for it. Like a supper we eating, it won't be the last. Grind all the muscle, pull up. Parker right on the grass. We coming in, take over everything, run it up. Nothing holding me back. 3 in the wood, rushing.
Welcome to Takeover from the crib. It's your boy Cam back at you guys with another one. Guys, how you guys doing?
Well, Cam, we're still I think it's about 3 months now, maybe 2, since the Atlanta Braves became world champions. And I'm glad to say that I woke up today and they were still world champions. And Jorge Soler's home run still hasn't landed. And the Houston Astros still have not scored a run. So I think I'm living in a pretty good world.
With that being said, I am good as well.
Which one of you guys wants to go first on this Alabama versus Georgia topic?
All right, so there's only one thing we can really talk about today, guys. You know it. We all know it. It's coming up this Monday. Alabama, Georgia, Part 2, the sequel that nobody wanted and yet we still got. They were playing for the national championship. Boy, guys, who y'all got?
This would probably be a surprise to none of you guys, but I'm definitely going with Bama, and it's 3 big reasons why. I think styles make fights, and I feel like they make football games as well. And I think Bama style has a perfect counter for everything that Georgia does. Georgia is predicated on stopping the run and running the ball against you and beating you up on offense. Alabama doesn't have to run the ball to beat Georgia. We saw that in the first meeting. And 2, when it comes to the defensive side, Alabama ranks top of the nation in stopping the run, forcing Stetson Bennett to be some type of hero that he's not. He looked good in that Michigan game, but that's not him. I don't believe he can continually do that for 4 quarters without help from a lot of guys on the outside. 2, Bryce Young. Bryce Young is that guy. You look at what Bryce Young's been doing this season. He's throwing 55% against man, and he's throwing 70% against zone. That is very Drew Brees-like, because he looks like the black and gold number 9 with the way he's slinging the ball right there. And I feel like he's going to cause too many problems for Georgia because they couldn't get to him last time because they had the 2 tight ends blocking, and it left a lot of one-on-ones for Jamison Williams. And John Mechie won't be there, but you're going to have Brooks out there. You're going to have Billingsley out there, and you're going to have Cam Latu out there. I don't think Georgia on the back end is good enough to guard Alabama's receivers, and that's going to cause a lot of problems. And if you think about Georgia going in zone, like I said, Bryce Young is going to kill the zone as well. And you got Brian Robinson, the game he had versus Cincinnati, he rushed for over 150 yards. So this Bama team on offense can change the way they play, and they can beat you in different ways. And I feel like that's going to be a real tough for this Georgia team to counter. 3rd, they have Georgia favored by 3 points in this game. That is all the rat poison Nick Saban needs to rile up the troops for one more game. Nick Saban is going to go in the locker room and say, even after all you've done this season, they still think you're going to lose to Georgia. They still think Georgia is going to beat you. And I think that is just enough to push a Bama team that's been playing in the playoffs, to me, since the Texas A&M loss, into a state where I think they can beat Georgia again.
So I have Alabama winning this game as well. You pretty much summed up a lot of the stuff I was going to say, but it depends to me on how Georgia approaches this game. If they approach it the same way that they did before, it's going to be a repeat of the SEC championship. But if Georgia plays more aggressive and maybe they blitz more, I think they have a better chance at beating Alabama due to Alabama's injuries. But to me, that still doesn't change the fact that I think Alabama's going to win, because even though they will have a chance, Bama has had injuries throughout the season and throughout the playoffs, and they still managed to beat their competition. So the question still is, for me, whether Georgia can score enough points to keep up with Alabama. You know that they're not going to be able to hold Alabama to 1 touchdown, as we saw in the SEC championship. So as great as Georgia's defense is, even when they did blitz in the SEC championship, Bryce was still able to make plays, and Georgia's secondary got beat. So when you look at the game that they had against Michigan, Michigan didn't really have the tools to exploit that on Georgia. That's why Georgia played really good against them, in my opinion. But Alabama does. You have Jamison Williams, and then with Mechie being out, you have Brooks and Bolden, who can potentially step up for Mechie. And then after watching Georgia in the SEC championship and against Michigan, what are they going to do offensively that gives them the edge over Alabama? Like you said, Alabama is still, they're the second in the country when it comes to rush defense, and they won't be able to run the ball effectively or efficiently on Bama, and that's really their bread and butter. And Alabama's front seven is still relatively healthy. And James Cook and Zamir White, they only had 109 rushing yards against Alabama, and they're a big part of Georgia's offense. And in order to keep up with Bama, I think Georgia is going to have a passing game that we haven't seen from Stetson Bennett yet. And like you said, Cam, I don't expect him to just get it all out of nowhere. So that's my take on that.
All right, we all had some great takes, and you gave us a ton of reasons why Alabama was going to win this game. So because I am always the dissenting voice here, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to give you the reasons why UGA is going to win this game. You ready? I think that's it. There's no way. I'm sorry. UGA is not winning this game, guys. All right. I know all the UGA fans I know are going to be angry at me. I rode with y'all last time. I put myself on the line and rode with y'all, and y'all embarrassed me on this show. So I cannot, in good faith, put my vote behind Georgia after they got slaughtered by 17, and nothing is different. Everything is the same. Alabama's going to be without John Mechie. That could be an issue. But we saw against Cincinnati, that wasn't an issue for him. And they still have Jamison Williams, who, may I remind you, had 184 yards against UGA in the SEC Championship game. Now he's going to be getting more targets. I don't see how UGA is winning. UGA doesn't have the secondary to slow down Alabama's passing attack. I don't think they're going to be able to get after Bryce Young because he's absolutely carved them up in the last game. And because of that, I think UGA is going to have to rely on Stetson Bennett. And we've seen Stetson Bennett, when the game is in his hands, he crumbles. I mean, he puts up decent numbers, but he also throws a bunch of back-breaking interceptions. And Alabama did a really good job of slowing down UGA's run game in the last game. They did give up 109 yards, but it was on a 3.6 yard per carry average. And they just absolutely shut down Cincinnati's running game, which had Jerome Ford, who was an Alabama recruit, by the way. So is the only thing that Alabama's really going to have to worry about on defense, in my opinion, is going to be slowing down Brock Bowers, which even at that point, it's like, just kind of let him get his and make sure everybody else stays out. As long as you can get a few stops, you'll be fine. Alabama put 41 on UGA. I don't think that there's any reason why they won't put another 41 on them. So I'm taking Alabama by multiple touchdowns.
One thing I'll say about the last four matchups between Alabama and Georgia, I think quarterback play has really exemplified who really wins this game. You look at what Tua Tagovailoa did in the first meeting, he was the better quarterback. You look at what Jalen Hurts did in the other game, he was the better quarterback. You had Stetson Bennett versus Mac Jones. Mac Jones is the better quarterback. Stetson Bennett versus Bryce Young, I think, shares the exact same fate. And I'm going to go on a limb here because I know I told Josh that Mac Jones was the best Alabama quarterback of all time. If Bryce Young wins this game, he is undoubtedly the best Alabama quarterback of all time. Because let me tell you something. First of all, no Alabama quarterback has won the Heisman. He's won that. No Alabama quarterback has done more with less than Bryce Young. I'm willing to say if Bryce Young wins this game, like I think he will go down as the greatest Alabama quarterback of all time.
I don't necessarily hate that. I mean, I don't know. You know the numbers on those guys better. I like to throw my vote behind Greg McEnroe, or whatever. McElroy, whoever it was, the dude that ended up as the third string for the Jets. He's my favorite. But I mean, like I said, I don't understand how Vegas has UGA as a favorite at this point, because I mean, nothing's changed. They beat Michigan. Good job. Facing Cade McNamara and facing Bryce Young are two completely different things. And I don't think there's going to be any kind of difference whatsoever.
Well, I mean, you guys heard it first. Takeover has Alabama in a sweep, which is real interesting. I thought Josh at least was going to say Georgia, because Josh is already he loves to spice it up. He did say Cincinnati the last week, so we'll definitely see. But that's gonna wrap up our episode. It's definitely a quick one today. Do you guys have anything to say?
No.
Subscribe, like the video, and make sure you send us your takes. It's gonna be a big year, 2022 for Takeover, so stay tuned in.
Definitely do that. And if you want to watch the game with us, we will be at Buffalo Wild Wings. I think it's on Bay Tree Road. If you are in the Valdosta area, come watch the game with us, man. We love a little banter. If you're a Georgia fan, don't sit too close to me. They know how I get during these games. I'm very hostile. I'm just playing. But
No,
you know
he's
what I'm
not.
saying?
He's not. He's not. He's 100%.
But definitely, if you guys are in town, definitely come to Buffalo Wild Wings, watch the game with us. I'm sure we'll have a good time. And that's going to wrap up our episode. Takeover out. Hope you guys have a good year.
Hey, champ. Yeah, we play it all in night. Yeah, need it all in advance. The opposition know we're ready for it. Like a supper we eating, it won't be the last. Grind all the muscle, pull up. Parker right on the grass. We coming in, take over everything, run it up. Nothing holding me back. 3 in the wood, rushing. I don't like Dutch, don't even matter, you know I'm a face. And when I roll a paper, I like to go double. Run up a check, flip a W, make it an M. I need